Hi there. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Pentart Pouring Glaze and in what I think to be a pretty neat way. I'm going to show you how to use the pouring glaze in a similar way that you would use clear epoxy resin. You can get pretty much the same effect. I know that, using epoxy resin is sometimes intimidating to some, but the pouring glaze is a great alternative and it's fairly easy. If you can see here, I made a couple samples to show you. This is just a resin frame and that's rice paper, but I put the pouring glaze in there and now it gives you that beautiful look as if you put epoxy resin down. And it's, this is just chipboard here, a medium weight chipboard. Actually, I don't even think it's medium weight, it's pretty thin, but you would never know as hard as it is. I did pretty much the same thing here, and I put down just a little embellishment in there. But as I was doing this, I put the embellishment down, I put a little bit of glue behind the embellishment and I set that down in there. But then I thought, well, if I were to have poured epoxy resin, I wouldn't have needed the glue first, because I could have just put down the embellishment and it would have set, because it would have hardened down there at the bottom, and the embellishment wouldn't have moved. So I thought, okay, let's give it a try. So if you can see, that word there, the love, is not flush down here. What I did was I just put that in the pouring glaze and I let that dry, and as you can tell, it did the exact same thing. It hardened just like it would if you were using the epoxy resin, and you get that same beautiful look, and it's just as sturdy. And then what I also did was I used the pouring glaze around the frame, and it gave it just this beautiful ceramic-like feel. So again, just a couple of ways that you can use the pouring glaze. You can mix mica powder, in the pouring glaze and get beautiful colors with that. You can use it on clay as a, gloss on the clay, and it will actually make the clay harden and sturdy as well. But today, like I said, I want to show you how to use it as if it's a substitute or in place of having to use epoxy resin. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is just a resin frame, just the, quick cure resin frame. And what I did is I cut out a piece of chipboard, just like I did these samples that I showed earlier. And then I'm going to put the rice paper, and this is just ITD collection, and it's one of the 6 mini rice paper sets, and these are the birds. So I'm going to put this little guy on here, paint the frame, and then show you how I got from here, how I ended up here. Okay, let's get started. Okay, we got the frame painted, bird decoupaged on, glued the backing. Now that's totally on. What I did want to mention is before I painted the frame with the gray acrylic, I did prime it with the Pentart Acrylic Primer White. Okay, so now that this is done, all we need to do next is put on the pouring glaze. Okay, so I am going to put the pouring glaze. I'm going to paint that also around the frame because I really do like that look that it gives. It almost makes it look, like I said, like a ceramic, like it's a glass frame, and it gives it that feel as well. So all I'm going to do is put on a layer of that. Okay, so now you do want to put it on an even surface. You don't, because we want it to go, well, as it's drying, we want it to be even. And I'm just going to take the pipette and I'm going to fill that up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. Now you will notice that it, does have like a cloudy glaze, but once it dries, it will dry completely clear. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to let that, just kind of move that around in there. And it is self-leveling as well. So once you do get the layer in there, I lifted that up a little high, let me take care of that. Once you do get the layer in there, it will self-level. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to worry about that. Now you could just pour this in straight, but I just feel like I have a little bit more control having it in the pipette, than just pouring the liquid straight out of the bottle. And then what I'll do with those little bubbles is I'll just poke that and get rid of those. There we go. And that's it. Just as easy as that. What I would suggest, I would just let this dry naturally. So what I would suggest is putting something over it to cover it. Just because, like, I just have a little plastic here. So, wherever you're going to let it set, I would put something over to cover it because if you have pets or just dust particles in general, they will, get in there, and then when it dries, you will see it. So once this is dry, I will show you what it looks like. Just to make mention, if you did want to drop in an embellishment, now like what I did here with the love or the little diamond there, you could put it in now. So I would place it in there now and then let it set to dry. And there you go. So that is the Pentart Pouring Glaze. And again, maybe you can try it out and use it as a little substitution if you haven't, used epoxy resin, or you are intimidated by it and you want to try this first to see if you like that look. But let us know in the comments if you have any questions. Go ahead and put it down in the comments and we'll get back to you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.